Salut everyone! I got a great news for you. Yes, an awesome news actually. The developer of the 3D graphics stack for Linux found the reason why Nvidia cards were performing so bad on Linux. Yes, they found it. So, let's talk about it. As always, let's start with a little bit of context. If you are a Linux user, you already know that the difference between the performance on Windows and Linux with a panel of game will be dependent on the type of GPU you use and the type of game you play. I know it's crazy, but I'm going to try to do a little recap there with the video from the ancient gameplay Fabio. Hello, if you watch this one. But the idea is that if you have an AMD card, you will see that the performance is between like margin of error to a big gap of around like 5.5%, 6% between Windows and Linux. So yes, if you are using Windows right now, when you want to move to Linux and you have an AMD card, you are not getting a huge drop in performance. Now, if you use an Nvidia card, the story is totally different. With the Nvidia card, running DirectX 12 game could be awesome or could be a total mess. And a lot of users have been talking about it. For example, on the Nvidia forum here, people are not happy. I covered it in many videos where I show that when you use an Nvidia card and a DirectX 12 game, not only you're gonna have a drop of performance around like 25, 30%, sometimes you go even higher depending on the game you use, but you're also gonna have a lot of stutter. And the performance loss versus Windows will be really like fluctuating depending on the game you use, but we could narrow it down to DirectX 12 game on Linux with the Nvidia card. However, the Nvidia team did mention they were aware of the issue. And through this post, I'm going to read it to you guys, team is currently investigating performance issue and we do have identified the root cause for Orizo Zero Down and working on a fix. So I won't go through the whole thread, like there is like 477 messages there, but what you can see is like the Nvidia team is actually aware of the issue and they have been working on it for now like more than 4 months, which is pretty awesome. But this is not the great news I wanted to share with you guys. The great news is that the X.org developer conference from 2025, it's a big event where all the developers working on all things open graphics, so Linux kernel, Mesa, DRM, Wayland, X11. And you know, when you talk about Mesa, you talk about the graphic stack, so RADV, NVK, ANV, so all those stacks related to the different hardware manufacturers, they meet and they talk about their advancement. And if you look at the different intervenants there and people involved in this conference, you have Nvidia, you have AMD, you have the Linux Foundation, you have Vulkan Kronos, which is an association for the development of Vulkan, but guess who is here to collaborate? I don't know if you remember, but on this channel, I did cover the development of the full open Nvidia driver. And the dev, which are leading the project, work at Collabora. And Faith was doing an awesome presentation around the development of the 3D graphics stack. So if you don't know Faith, she has been pushing like crazy code for more than a decade now. And she has been really focusing on the desktop and the graphic like 3D stack. And she's currently the leading developer maintainer of NVK. So she gave an incredible presentation, which is like 99 slides during this event. So I'm going to put a link to the presentation itself. I'm going to put a link to the video of the presentation if you have the technical ability to understand this whole pack. And I want to be direct with you guys. I've been recording this video for more than 2 hours now because I went to one of my, like a little, like Excalibur like stuff, where I try to dump down those 99 pages. And I don't think it's worth it for me to explain it to you point by point. But I have one slide which gonna explain it to you really clearly. This slide, yes, G3G12, aka DirectX 12, plus VKG 3G, which is the stack for the Proton and DirectX 12, and Nvidia equal a big snarl. Yes, this is a big takeaway from this presentation. So obviously we knew about it. Okay, we knew about it. We knew we had some type of issue. But what Faith and her team were able to find out is the actual cause of this performance regression. So I said I wouldn't do an Excalibur presentation, but I feel like I need to do a small one, okay? So I'm gonna try to explain it really with a high level of view, okay? So depending on the hardware you use, whether it's AMD or Nvidia, the way it works is that Vulkan use what is called descriptor models, okay? And so those models, they are the one ingesting all the data within the GPU, and they kind of like facilitate the way the GPU process everything. So I'm gonna try to stay high level there because I don't want to lose you. But long story short, the way those descriptor models are being built, they have been built within the vision of Valve at the time, I'm guessing, and AMD, obviously. And that's the reason why they work so well with the AMD card right now. So the implementation of those descriptor models are really optimized for AMD. So you're gonna tell me, like, yeah, but how does it go for Nvidia? Well, for Nvidia itself, there is hacks implemented at every level of the graphics stack to make it work. So hacks which are at the level of Vulkan, there is hacks at the level of VKG 3D to make everything, I would say, like working. But as you can tell, it's not working very well. And if you look at the presentation, what really like stand out for me is that for AMD and those descriptors, it will take like one cycle to process everything, while for Nvidia, as it is right now, it will take 5 cycles. So if you're not aware of what's going on, each cycle requires some processing time, right? And so the more cycle you get, the less optimized it is. Long story short. So Faith, she's in a really like strategic position right now to kind of like solve the optimization issue regarding Nvidia. So let me explain. She's working on one end on the Vulkan stack, like literally like on the Vulkan API to improve it. And she's also part of the team which is working on the NVK driver with Nvidia. So she's literally like in the best position to find what are the potential like optimization required to make everything work and reach the level of I would say like optimization that AMD is already at. And you will see the solution itself is pretty straightforward. So because we know that the Vulkan API right now doesn't have the specific instruction to work with AMD and everything has to be done within the hack I mentioned earlier, what they're going to do is they're going to implement new descriptor. And those new descriptor models are going to take in consideration the way like the Nvidia hardware is structured, right? So Nvidia, but it's going also to be an improvement regarding DirectX 12 API. So it's going to be an improvement for Nvidia, but it's also going to be a more like cleaner way, I would say, for the AMD stack itself and also Intel, because I know like Intel has a really good also implementation of Vulkan, but those new specific descriptor model, they're going to be helping everyone, which is awesome. So I don't know if it's going to translate into performance for AMD and Intel. Maybe for Intel, I think AMGs are pretty solid in terms of performance, but for Nvidia, it's going to definitively be a plus. So what does it mean for us? Because I'm pretty sure that if you are still on Windows, you might be a little bit on the fence to move to Linux, because you've seen some of those videos where the performance on your favorite DirectX 12 game get like amputated for a solid like 30%, and you are like, no, I don't want to go there, like I won't have enough FPS, and you're impatient to know if there is an actual like solution available for you. Well, here is my prediction. So when it comes to timeline, this is just my prediction. But with all the data I gathered from the presentation, but also the information on the forum and a little like tips here and there, I believe, and this is just me, I'm not talking for anybody else, I would say that the Vulkan improvement have actually been worked on for, I would say, like 3 to 4 months. The implementation for Vulkan, in my opinion, is already there. I wouldn't say done, but most of the heavy lifting has been done, because otherwise, Faith will not make a presentation about it. So my guess is that it's gonna take around like 2 months for the new API to be released. Okay, and when I'm talking about the API, I'm talking about the Vulkan API. And within this new API, we're gonna have the new descriptor model, which are going to be optimized for DirectX 12 and Nvidia, right? Now, when this is going to be released, there is like 2 major actors that need to be involved. First one is obviously Nvidia. Nvidia, I believe, has been working already with Khronos, which is the association working on Vulkan. And my guess is that it's gonna take them around like 1 month to release the beta Vulkan driver. So I don't know if you know about those, but Nvidia released on both Windows and Linux the beta driver, but also the beta Vulkan driver. And there are 2 different branches. The beta Vulkan driver, I was using them maybe 4 years ago when Valve was actually working on the implementation of all those new API within Vulkan for Proton. And they will be released as soon as a new feature within Vulkan was pushed. So them being released doesn't mean they work properly, but they are being released as a beta, and you can have access to them and test them and give some feedback. So those drivers, they will be released 1 month after the Vulkan API release, because historically, Nvidia is just pushing them really fast. They don't wait. And then you're gonna have the VKG 3D team from Valve and the community, which are going to work on the implementation of the Vulkan API within Proton, okay? So those one, on paper, they are totally independent, but they're also linked, which means that VKG 3D could work on Proton just when the Vulkan API is released, but obviously they're gonna need the driver to test it. So here it's gonna be, again, like only me thinking, I'm not involving anyone, but I would say it's gonna take them between 2 and 3 months to implement and test it. And I'm saying that because this team has been incredibly fast. They are like insane. When something come up regarding the Nvidia driver, and I've been following a lot of case, and also like AMG driver, I'm talking about FSR4, the team is just incredibly fast. So if you think about the timeline now, you have all the information. I would say here we are in October, okay? And my guess is like for the API release, we have like 2 months, which means we're gonna be in for a release late December or January 2026 here for the API. Then we have those timeline here, which gonna be adding between 2 to 4 months. So we should have a beta release in March, April 2026. That would be my guess. We're gonna have Nvidia driver beta with Proton experimental getting the improvement for DirectX 12 in March, April 2026. And here you are. You got the news. We're gonna have an optimization of those specific descriptor model within Vulkan, and hopefully, I say hopefully, I'm gonna explain why. Hopefully, it's gonna fix the issue related to Nvidia. So why do I say hopefully? Hopefully, because first of the timeline, right? Right now, like this is just my guess. This is just my analyze regarding all the information I found, and I might be wrong. It might be faster than that, right? I could be wrong in a good way. Could be like, hey, you said March, guess what? It's gonna be February because the API descriptor model, they're already done, and we already pushed them to Nvidia, and they're already working on it. It could be the case. I don't think it is. I think we are in exactly right now, we are in the validation process. But maybe I'm wrong. So that will be the first like hypothetical like variable where we don't exactly know the release date. It could be further too. Okay, so this need to be mentioned during this conclusion, I believe. The other point I also need to mention is related to the performance itself. Yes, we're gonna get those new descriptor model within the API. Yes, Nvidia is working with Faith and Vulkan to make this happen and to gain performance on Linux. It's happening. However, is it the only cause of the regression of the DirectX 12 game? I don't have this answer for you, but it's something we need to think about, because all this work could be done and we could notice that, well, games are still not working properly and the issue relies somewhere else. And this could be also a potential output of this all good news. Honestly, I don't think it is the case too. My guess is that we have like a 2% chance for it not to be the issue, because we have like really competent people working on it. And again, like I've been in exchange with a lot of them, and I've been really impressed by their abilities to solve issue and go through all those challenges and make it work. And historically, since I've been following Nvidia on Linux, it has been only like beneficial for the last, like I would say, like 4 years and a half. It has been like really good in terms of performance improvement, in terms of feature. So I'm super positive about it, but something to take in consideration, right? Like everything is possible, and I feel like I need to talk about it. So overall, this is really good, guys. Like this is really, really good. Those new API are gonna be able to, you know, like make everything cleaner from the dev side, because it's gonna help. It might also help Intel. The Intel card, I know right now, like Intel is not in a good shape, and the Intel, like I would say, like implementation on Linux, it's kind of like a yay or nay, depending on the game you play. But it could solve this issue too for Intel. So it's gonna affect everyone in a positive way, and this is the good news, guys. This is the great news. I really wanted to share with you. It kind of went under the radar because it's really technical, and I believe it's really hard for, you know, content creator like me to try to, I would say, like share the news with you guys in a way which is like digestible. Man, I spent like 2 hours recording right? And I'm doing the freaking like outro right now, and I'm still thinking like, dude, did you make it like clear enough for someone who is not into the dev world to understand what's going on? So guys, let me know in the comment below if you understood what I was trying to share with you. Okay, and it's not your fault, it's certainly my fault. I might not have been doing the best job here, but long story short, March, we might have new driver for Nvidia and new API implementation. This is what counts, okay? So yes, please give a thumbs up to the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe. We are reaching new height. Yes, 20k subscriber, video incoming on that too. But yes, thank you very much for watching. If you want to support the channel financially, please do it via Patreon. This is the #1 way of doing it because they are really nice in terms of cut. Then you have YouTube membership and then direct PayPal. Direct PayPal is really good too. Guys, all the financial supporters of this channel, I want to say thank you very much. You are the best. La crème de la crème club on top. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one. Bisous, bisous.